Wolfpack, what's going on? Your boy, the Wolf of Roto Street, rotostreetjournal.com. We breed and feed you fantasy wolves here with your Week 15 semifinals, baby. One more game between you and championship glory. It's all comes down to this, folks. Let's make sure you have your rankings right. Let's make sure you are getting the right start decisions. I am, of course, going to answer any questions you guys submit throughout the broadcast. And if you're catching the replay, of course, comment on in. I will be happy to answer any questions. And if you haven't already subscribed or given it a thumbs up where you're at, it would mean so much to us to help us get out to more people, get discovered by more. Wolfpack, just keep growing it to get more comments in here, answer more questions, help more fantasy wolves out, continue to feed and breed you guys. But let's dive right in here. Let's cut anything out promoting wise and get right into this good stuff. For the quarterbacks, we always start with it. And you got your matchups here. Atlanta Falcons still at the top. They've seemed to kind of crunch down a bit against the quarterback position lately. It's not quite the smash it once was where you could just hammer them, and it didn't matter who you was facing. It's Drew Lock putting up 30 points against these losers. Ultimately, they're still one of the best matchups are the Jets, the Jaguars, Seahawks, Browns. None of that is shocking, especially the Browns getting really dinged up on the defensive side of the ball, and especially in the back half. We could see Denzel Ward return this week. That would obviously be an enormous boost, their best player, but still not a lock. And then you round out the top 10 with the Titans, horrendous, lots of good game flow too because they push the pace so much. Lions, awful. Bills, Texans, and Chargers round out your your top matchups. And then your bottom matchups include the 49ers, football team, Packers, Dolphins, Colts, Giants, Saints, Patriots, Steelers, and Rams as your toughest spots. Let's dive in now to the I got to make sure I'm sharing the screen. Sorry, Wolfpack. Add to the stream here. Bam. There we go. Would have made a lot more sense as I was going through those matchups here and points allowed. Just to quickly show you those again. I won't run through them all. And then also your bottom ones there. I use fantasy points against on Yahoo. Pro Football Reference has a great tool there as well. But let's dig in here, Wolfpack. And again, a thumbs up would help us get out to more people, a share, comment, retweet, all that good stuff. We'll answer all your questions in between positions as we go. So let's begin with our quarterbacks. At the top, we have a battle between Mahomes, between Rodgers. And honestly, I think this is the point where Lamar Jackson has entered the conversation here for number one overall quarterback, number one player of any given week, because he's against Jacksonville, giving up the fourth most points, and he's just scorching. Unbelievable play from him. I would put these three. This is like your big three now at this point. Lamar, Wilson at Washington, just a slow-paced team, a good back half secondary, not overly into that. I'd prefer, it's tricky to rate through these, but honestly, I feel like Ryan Tannehill should be towards the top of this list. The issue with him is, should Matthew Stafford sit, is that game going to remain competitive enough that they're going to keep the air under the ball? No guarantee by any means. So that could be the risk with him. I'm looking through here, like who else to love? I mean, Brady against, but Kyler Murray. I have a feeling Kyler Murray is going to get it back and going this week, and I would play him above Tannehill. It's close. Josh Allen as well against Denver. I think he gets it nice and cooking again. So a little bit low on Russ. They had just been so run heavy, and this is a defense that can really stifle the pass and stifle the run. And just slow the pace of the game down, unfortunately. I don't want Herbert in my top 10. I fucking hate Herbert. I'm done with this asshole. I don't care that the matchup's as good as can be. Not into it. Give me Jalen Hurts instead of him. Love the Konami upside. Top 10 in my rankings this week. Now, Deshaun Watson, it will depend on Brandon Cooks' availability. We saw what happens with that weapons cabinet that's already one of the worst in the league. Gets depleted of its top most explosive weapon, the biggest field stretcher they have. Not good. Not good for anybody involved there. So I'm not, overly confident. This is ranking as if Cooks is playing. I would bump down Hurts probably below him. If not, as we keep looking here, I mean, Goff, yeah, he sucked, but this is a good spot for him. Man, this is a tricky week to go overly away from the ECR. There's not a ton standing out here. I like Brady, but do I like him enough to bump him above these guys? Not really. I guess I'm a little higher on Kyler Murray, right? Jalen Hurts, clearly. And if you are waiver wire, by the way, tonight, and ask any waiver wire questions you guys have, he's got to be your priority, whether you're blocking an opponent or whether you're just your quarterback needy, especially. Go get Jalen Hurts. He is the absolute play right now. I think Taysom Hill, I mean, looked like he was headed for a dud week. It's kind of like classic Tim Tebow where, fuck, this is it. It's finally caught up with him. And in the fourth quarter, you turn your head, you come back. He's got like over 320 total yards, 2 touchdowns, some rushing. That's what Taysom Hill does. Now, if he's out, Breeze would be, I'd say, right here at 9 or 10 as well. So whichever Saints quarterback is playing in what should be a shootout game, which should require some points, I like a lot. Let's add a tier. I mean, Carr kind of belong. Like, we're at this like upside, like QB2, like low end 1, high end 2. They're all kind of together here. I would probably play Goff above Herbert. I don't want to trust Herbert with my season on the line. You get some Thursday night action, so maybe that could convince me, but I don't know. I'm not into it at all. I do think Teddy is going to have to sling. I mean, Matt Ryan, it all depends. Is Julio playing? If so, lock him on in. Baker's been a beast. I think Baker has to get bumped up now. Back-to-back, 30-point days? Giants, nothing scary on defense. I think Baker needs a bit more respect than what he's getting in these rankings. I'd pump him all the way up to my top 15 here, potentially even over Herbert. And looking down here, okay, none of your cheap guys get great matchups. Now, I don't mind Drew Lock, fresh off a 4 TD day. Easy to continue to like him. But it's just like, it's Drew Lock. As soon as you trust the loser, he's going to shit himself on you. It's not, I don't know. It's a tough one to go truly all in on Drew Lock here. Matt Ryan, again, will get bumped up should Julio be announced as active. Now, Daniel Jones, should Cleveland remain as banged up? We just saw what Lamar Jackson. Obviously, Daniel Jones is not Lamar Jackson, but he can run. He can sling. They got some weapons that can get deep. So I would like him if I'm going for like an absolute desperation streamer here. Let's round out these. I don't want anything to do with Cam. Stafford's not expected to play, although I would play Chase Daniel above most of these. Tua, I'll give a little bit of love. I mean, huge day last week. He belongs, in this tier. Now, his weapons cabinet's going to be completely depleted, so I can see if that's your reason for bumping Tua down. But overall, of the streamers, Baker Mayfield out there in a lot of waiver wires. Love him. Teddy Bridgewater, I think, could be a nice viable play against Green Bay, who's going to put up their points, no doubt. That kind of rounds it out. But obviously, of course, of the most available quarterbacks, Jalen Hurts is the one that I'm all in on. I don't think anything what he did was a fluke. I think Arizona's an even easier matchup for the guy. Another 100 yards rushing plus 200 to, in 3. At 5,900 on DraftKings, too. I'm going to love that play all day. All righty, Wolfpack, let us get to your questions. Let me load the running backs over here. All righty, guys, and let's get to your questions. And just wanted to quickly shout out as this is loading. We did put up a page on our site, rotostreetjournal.com/support2020. If you guys are willing to check that out, it's a way to submit a testimonial to us. To just, who can sing better, the Wolfpack's praises than us. I'll just show you quickly what that looks like. Support 2020. You go to this little page here. And as you can see, I wrote you a very heartfelt message. And then also the written testimonials you can submit. It's just loads. It takes a little second to load here. But you can see the form is right within the document. Just takes you your name, your testimonial. If you prefer submitting a video or an audio, even better. Let us hear it. Let us see it, give you some questions to consider. And of course, do you think we are tip worthy? Obviously not expected, as I say right here, far from expected, but so greatly appreciated. If we end up winning you any of your playoff matchups, or if we've helped you at all, feed and breed that wolf, just a way to support the show. Your kind words, though, is really, and just you guys showing up every time is all we want. But ultimately, I did want to just show that because we are trying to take things to the next level, and any help you guys can give us, whether it's through your words or your a generous donation, would be so greatly appreciated. Alrighty, Wolfpack, let's get to your questions. Should I start Cam Akers, Taylor at running back and Metcalf and Robinson or Woods at receiver. I would go Taylor over Akers. Love them both. I don't know how you can't get at least, both of them in there if you have a flex. I would go Metcalf at receiver. Robinson. Yep, I'm going with Metcalf Robinson. That's where I lean Bailey Fields. Sit down, CMC. I'm taking the ship. So is this official? Has he been officially sat down for the season, Tunes? I must have missed that one right as I was coming on. Mike Davis is huge news for you. Cody Oxy, 0.56. Let's go. Wow. What an absolute fucking barn burner that one must have been. You must have been just cringing all night because last night's game was insane. And to have any fantasy implications on it could have only made it that much crazier. Is Tannehill a good pickup? Bailey Fields is my number 4 quarterback. Of course he's a good pickup. Who's your quarterback? How is he out there? He's facing Detroit. 7th most points allowed, and this dude is scorching. Love it. What's going on, Timmy Gray? Great to see you. You like Swift or Mike Davis? Got to go Mikey D, especially if this is official that CMC is out for the week. Yeah, I'm going Mikey D. Mahomes or Lamar this week? Matchup's great for Lamar. You just saw it, Mitch. I put Lamar above Mahomes for this week. It's crazy. He might be the only person to ever bench Lamar for, but he's rolling. He gets the Jags this week. The only thing is that could work out against him in the sense that what if it's just like Gus Edwards scores 2 touchdowns, Dobbins scores 2, because they can get destroyed on the ground. It's always tough to bench Mahomes. And that's your boy. Like, I might in my vacuum think Lamar is better this week, but it's going to be real tough to sit Mahomes if you've been the one getting you there all of it. Joe Ferraro, what's going on? Lori Ferraro, it sounds like you're bringing someone to the show. Greatly appreciated. If you're willing to tag people, bring people to the show. And of course, that thumbs up button helps us get out to so many. It is so greatly appreciated, Wolfpack. Start Josh Allen or Herbert at QB this week. I'm going to go Josh Allen, K. Coolip. I'm never going back to Herbert. I'm done with him. I'm done with that piece of shit. We go Lamar, then over. Yep, so you just saw it as we just covered. According to my rankings, yes, but you can have your gut come into play there. Ilias, pick one. Jonathan Taylor, Aaron Jones, Montgomery. Oof, all fantastic options. You can only have one. What do you have, Derrick Henry above those guys? I think is what it is, right? Let's find out. That's a perfect segue. Obviously promising to get to all your questions, folks, but let's get to running backs, the meat of lineups here. I have Derrick Henry at 1. Honestly, against Detroit, I think it's a tier by himself type of rank. And then you got a great matchup for Aaron Jones, but he fucking sucked. I'd rather have Nick Chubb than him. I'd rather have Chubb than Dalvin Cook. Dare I say Jonathan Taylor? You're asking this question here, Ilias. Jonathan Taylor, Aaron Jones, Montgomery. Almost everyone would tell you Jones. And honestly, the guy's got 3 touchdown upside. Last time I benched him, he put up 35. But Jonathan Taylor against Houston is 3 touchdown upside too. The easiest run matchup for any running back. Big David Montgomery just had an 80-yard touchdown against him. What is Jonathan Taylor about to do? Whew. You got Austin Eckler against the Raiders, another great matchup. I would say this is kind of those guys, how I rank everybody. I'm going to bump Kamara above James Robinson. We saw a little more receiving involvement. I like that. I'd even probably put Montgomery the way he's cooking above Robinson. I like Robinson. I hate the Jags offense, and I don't like the Baltimore matchup. Sure, we just saw them get beaten on the ground by Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb, and that might convince me to go otherwise. But I like him. I love Mike Davis against Green Bay. 2nd most points to running backs. I mean, why don't we just quickly cover that for you, Wolfpack? We got Detroit. So it's just a little bit, the fourth most points. But Detroit, Houston. So you got Derrick Henry, Jonathan Taylor. Good Lord. That should be the start of every DraftKings lineup right there. Las Vegas Raiders. So Austin Eckler about to go completely berserk, of course. Packers for Mikey Davis. If McCaffrey, which it sounds like he's not, will not be playing, bam. You got that one. The Jags, a great matchup for who's he? The Ravens. But it's who do you trust there? Gus Edwards on the waiver wire could be a streamer for those of you that are desperate and lost CMC, right? Cowboys, 49ers, Jeff Wilson, a streamer potentially for you. You got your Titans squaring off against Detroit, so maybe DeAndre Swift, but it depends on, the quarterback play there. Panthers, so generous. Green Bay, they've seemed to have tightened up a little bit here, but let's not call them any type of world beaters here. Carolina is a great spot for any running back. And then we got Your Giants, so Nick Chubb, see you later. That's going to be a monstrous performance. And then Denver Broncos, rounding out your bottom 10, your top 10 rather. And then you got your Eagles. That's kind of misconstrued. I don't think they're that good. Dolphins, Bears, Bucks, Falcons. You got your Saints at the bottom, Steelers, Rams. That makes sense. The Rams, I don't know how great they actually are, though. Aaron Donald, obviously insane. So that rounds out your matchup analysis there. Let's continue diving into it. Washington, I love Carson, though. They've scored a rushing touchdown every single week. I got to give Miles Sanders some love, though. I mean, the dude just put up 32 points against the hardest run D. And you think it's a coincidence that's the first game that Jalen Hurts started? He played, 50-something snaps compared to like 11 for Boston Scott. He's back to the horse, baby. I'm all about me some Miles Sanders. I'm going to bump Akers up too. I think Akers versus Robinson is going to be tough, but I'd probably go Akers. That Jets matchup, I mean, joke. So this rounds out, we're going by tiers, right? King, nobody near him. Absolute monsters, RB1s, elite. Lower end RB1s, but still RB1s. Now we're getting into like the RB2 territory. And the drop-off is pretty damn steep. So let's look through it. I like Swift more than Dobbins this week. Jacobs gives a pretty good matchup versus the Chargers. I just don't like Jacobs. That's that shit he pulled. You want to have Connor higher, but what did he have, 18 yards last week? What a bag of dirt. I think Gallman, was it special last week? No, but just 10 almost every given week. Like I just like that safety, that steadiness. Kareem Hunt over, it was clear last night that these guys can totally coexist. Now, Mostert had to go get his ankle checked out. I don't know if anybody in the comments has seen any new news on that. I have not caught anything today. Had a pretty crazy day at work, so I have not been able to catch up on as much news as I usually like to before these shows. I think McKissick needs a little bit of a bump up, certainly above Hines and Mostert. Are we really going back to Zeke? I don't think so. I think Drake needs a bump up too. I don't get the hate for Drake. I mean, he's had 15 points in 4 or 5 straight weeks, touchdown a week, more involved with the goal line with Murray banged up. I love Drake. He was a douche early on in the season, but he's gotten it together. I feel like I'd play McKissick above these guys. Safer, sturdier points. Let me look up Mostert real quick. Sorry, folks. I got to know for the rankings because, Wilson's going to be a top 20 play if Mostert's out. So let me just quickly look that up. Sorry if somebody commented in, fantasy basketball is tipping off. No one gives a shit if you're tuned into this show. Questionable. So we got some new news. Had an MRI. So nothing yet on the MRI as far as I can tell here. Let me know if you guys have seen anything. That's what I saw this morning. I do like Wilson more than Zeke, honestly. Crazy, but I do. I think Hines, good bet to find the end zone. I think I'm a little too low on Melvin Gordon there. I didn't see, he's been the all intents and purposes a horse here. Phillip Lindsay's getting a few annoying carries here and there, but he's nothing to shy away from. Jamal Williams, the touches he's getting, might as well be the 1A, 1B situations looking like, which is horrible, but the truth. And now it starts to get ugly, folks. I do like Gus Edwards. 33% owned in Yahoo leagues. Like, I really would bump him up. 2 touchdown day. He's just a hard runner. I'd love to see what those snaps ended up coming out at for the Ravens running backs, but Gus is a great, great option this week. He should be a waiver wire priority after his performance last night. Lynn Bowden actually does have running back eligibility. And honestly, with no one else to throw to probably this week, I'd shoot him right into my top, here's your lower end RB2s flexes, whereas these are your RB2s. I think Lynn Bowden belongs with that group. And now, hopefully anyone tuned in doesn't have to dig too deep into this steaming pile of shit down here. David Johnson's probably a more involved than Duke. Although David Johnson's on the COVID list, right? So he's not even going to play. So we'll bump Duke up. We did see DeAndre get, 15 touches, even if Laird played more snaps. So I think he can get bumped up a little bit here. AP has a better bet at a touchdown than any of these guys here, right? Like, Gore, tough matchup, but volume, ugh. I mean, these guys, hopefully nobody's considering using. I'm going to move on from this gross pile of running backs in a second. I do think Barber makes a, desperation plug-in. Some of you guys I saw in the comments are looking for like CMC replacements, things like that. I'm just going to look down here and see if there's any other names that jump out to me, and certainly none do. So we shall move on to wide receivers, and I will get to your questions as we go here. Let's go back to points against. Get that loaded up. Thank you for your patience, Wolfpack. All righty. Wide receivers. And let's get to your questions. Alex Linder, what's going on? No CMC this week. Planning on picking up Jeff Wilson with the Mostert ankle news. Yeah, absolutely. Assuming I do, assuming I get him, do I flex Wilson, Cooks, or Flyer on Higgins or Lynn Bowden? All good questions. If Mostert's out and you get him, I would probably go Wilson. Against Dallas as the lead back. I mean, McKinnon didn't touch the field last week. Coleman saw 2 snaps. This is the Wilson and Mostert show. And if half that show is removed and it becomes more so the Wilson show, all day. If it's a split in the committee, I might lean Bowden, but we'll have to see. Right now, I am definitely leaning Wilson. Juan Pena, 11-3, first place, baby. Championship round. Let's do it. Going to need help with the lineup as if it was your own. Of course, Juan Pena. That's how I treat your lineup. Loyal fan like you all day. Get your questions in. Let's look at it, baby. Richard R. Is Hurts a start over Watson with or without Cooks? Not with or without Cooks. Without Cooks, yes. With Cooks, it's debatable. That's what's crazy about how the upside of Hurts is. I want to own him at least and have that option in case Cook sits again. Which one are you benching between Mike Davis, Kenyon Drake, and Kareem Hunt this week? Not Davis against Green Bay with CMC out. Probably Hunt, as big of a game as he had. You got the 2 feature backs and then the secondary. And he's been, mediocre before these last few weeks. So I'm going to go with Mike and Kenyon there. Goff or Cousins for Mark Leventi's. I'd probably just butchered that. Levenites. I'm going to go Goff, though, against the Jets. He'll destroy them. Who do I plug in my 2 wide receiver spots? Claypool, Landry, Julio, Juju, Gage. It was a Claypool lock button. Man, is he taking a tumble. I mean, he's playing less snaps than James Washington right now. I think you got to go Landry. And then if Julio plays, it's him. I mean, Juju's probably a lock too, right? Like Juju's locked in there. We're going to do wide receivers in a sec, Juan. But I go Landry and I go Julio if he plays, and then Juju. And then if Julio sits, I go Landry. Is kind of where I'm feeling right now. Herbert or Hurts? Now you're talking to an ass hurt fucking Herbert owner. So I'm going to say Hurts just out of spite. Logically, does that make the most sense? Probably not, but the Hurts rushing upside is so real. Just what he did, 20 points against New Orleans, one of the toughest defenses, now gets Arizona, one of the easiest. I think Hurts keeps rolling. I really do. Mike Davis or Jacobs? I'm going Davis all day there, Acosta. No doubt about that one for me. Sit 1, Cook, Jacobs, Carson, Akers, half PPR. Not Cook ever, Brian Martinez. Don't include him in these questions. I'm sitting Jacobs. I love Carson. I love Akers. And Jacobs is the bleh to me here. The bleh. Chris Carson or MT at flex. Carson. Chargers are really good against wide receivers. Start 2 for Bon Riggs. Zeke, Hunt, Mostert, half PPR. Hunt's the lock here. I don't like either of them, but I'm probably going to go Zeke. Everyone hit the like button. Thank you, Carlos. Much appreciated. Everybody hit that like button. Listen to Carlos. Be very appreciative if you consider it. Thank you, guys. It will help us get out to more Wolves. Akers or Eckler, standard. Standard does make it closer because Akers is certainly favored in standard, but I'm still going Eckler. The Raiders are just so bad against running backs. Who do I plug in my flex? Jonathan Taylor is your answer. I'm not going to talk about anybody else. And I would keep Kamara and Robinson over any of those other guys you listed. Yeah. Absolutely. Taylor and the 2 running backs you listed, but Taylor's my favorite of the 3. One. Heisenberger going for the chip. Let's get it, Heisenberger. Akers or Cup for the flex. I'm going to go Akers. I'm rolling this horse, baby. All of them are viable plays against the Jets. I don't think I would bench any of the guys you have starting either. So, yeah, Cup's my last man out here. But that's a stacked crew. I can see why you're going for that chip, Heisenberger. Let's get it. My man Darren Murray, and then back to receivers. 2, Trubisky, Cousins, Mayfield. Man, they're right in that 14 to 17 range. I think I have all of them. They might be neck and neck. Let me double check this one. I'm pretty sure they're all. I don't know that I feel greatly about any of these guys. I think they're all pretty close to each other. Cousins is probably my bench, but let's see what I have it at right now. Trubisky 18, Cousins 19, Baker 15. Yep. So that's Cousins is a little bit lower for me in that tough matchup against Chicago. That's where I'm going, Darren Murray. Alrighty, Wolfpack. I will get back to your questions. Keep them coming in. It's so fun to interact, answer what I can for you guys, and hopefully help you get those chips as you guys talk about. But let's look at receivers. You got your Seahawks, the easiest possible matchup. They have gotten better since Jamal Adams came back. But then the Falcons have not really gotten that much better. And the Seahawks do still stink. Can Terry McLaurin finally get it together? We'll find out. You got your Falcons versus wide receivers. Obviously, a joke of a team. Tampa Bay, Mike Evans, Godwin, all so viable, even though they kind of flopped against Minnesota. This could be the week Brady goes for 30. Minnesota Vikings versus receivers, obviously a joke. Allen Robinson should destroy them. A.J. Brown, have another field day against Detroit Lions. Maybe Corey Davis rebounds. You got Ayuk as the lone guy. He's going to be just top 10 this week, no doubt about it. Love me some Brandon Ayuk. Titans versus wide receivers. So on the other end, maybe Marvin Jones has a good run back with Chase Daniels if he locks in on him. New York Jets, horrible for your Rams. You got your Woods. You got your Cup. They're going to kill it. Jags against Baltimore, so maybe Marquise Brown keeps this hot streak rolling. Texans are climbing up there in terms of points allowed ever since they lost Bradley Roby. I bet you over these last 2-3 weeks without him, they're like top 2 or 3. So love me some T.Y. Hilton. Cleveland Browns rounding that out with their injuries if Denzel Ward stays out. Rams have been a monster matchup for their Jets. That sucks. The Saints against the Kansas City Chiefs, that should have you a little bit nervous. The Bears locking down receivers. So not feeling great about my Vikings guys, especially because that game won't shoot out. So, that's when they go crazy. You got your Pats limiting receivers, but I'm not overly scared for them. The football team has been legit. Your Seahawks in tougher spots, but it's DK. Let's be real. Colts, they've been okay, but we just saw Aguilar smack them around. So that rounds out, and the Packers, Jair Alexander is really why they're as good as they are. Let's get into your rankings. Adams is obviously the top guy. No doubt about that. Tyreek Hill, the Saints are okay on defense, but nobody stops Tyreek Hill. I think Diggs is underappreciated here. Same with A.J. Brown. I like Keenan Allen. I just don't like Herbert that much. And, I'm going to be a little bit lower on him this week. Give me all the Calvin Ridley. Tampa Bay is up to a top 10 matchup here, given how they've gotten destroyed these last few weeks. Keenan Allen is in this tier. I shouldn't have done that. And Hopkins is obviously here too. I don't know how he's 100-yard day. Get him back up. So a little bit lower on Keenan Allen to start these rankings here. I think Allen Robinson also belongs in this tier. He's a monster. The second highest scoring receiver last week. And then you got your, the upside of your Vikings, but I'd rather have my Rams this week. Cooper Kupp, Robert Woods. Terry, if Haskins plays, could get bumped above those guys as well. I'm putting Ayuk above all these guys, though. He is just a beast. 16 targets with no Debo last week, 39% share, 10 catches, 119 yards. And now Dallas, what were they? Number 6 in points allowed? 5? Even better. Love it. From here, Lockett's just been nothing, but it's just tough to, I'll have MT above him. And if Breeze plays, I'll bump MT up a little bit more. Cut this at like McLaurin. I'm not even going to put McLaurin in it. Now, if Alex Smith is playing, I haven't seen the latest. If there's any word, let me know, Wolfpack. McLaurin will be even further down here. But no, I gotta put Mike Evans facing Atlanta. Like, what? Come on. Why is he that low? The end zone guy on a team that's going to move the ball with ease. Come on. I love T.Y. Hilton. This hot streak is no joke. I mean, he is riding the flame. He now gets the Texans, who he always bends over, and they are going to be without Bradley Roby all day. Hey. I like a nice bounce back from Deontay, too. Same with Corey Davis, but I'd rather have Deontay if I had the options. Marvin Jones is intriguing because he's going to be the only guy yet again. But can Chase McDaniel deliver that? I think Godwin needs a bump up too. Like I know he screwed people. Absolute dud. But you can't bench Godwin. I do not have Claypool anywhere near these guys. I'm terrified. I would definitely play Landry over him. Marvin Jones, Beasley, yes. Antonio Brown. I love the player, Claypool. And as soon as you bench him, it's going to be the week he just goes berserk. Get Chark out of here. He done with Chark for the year. No need to ever consider him again. Pittman could get it done. Timmy Patrick's been nice, safe, and steady. So as the tiers go again, God, Devontae Adams, elite wide receiver 1s, highest of wide receiver 2s, your elite wide receiver 3s, quality wide receiver 2s. And now we're looking at kind of the last of the last. Boyd's such a good player, but I don't trust him. Give me some action on Aguilar instead. Quarterback play, the matchup, just not a good fit for Tyler Boyd. I don't know if the Bengals will put up a point this week. Jerry Jeudy, your weekly, just see you later. Parker does not seem expected to go. I don't know if they let me rank Bowden. He's only in the running backs. Huh. I'll give Gage the bump up, assuming Julio's not playing with that one. Like me some Russ Gage. There's some good cheap DraftKings receivers. He's 4,600. With no Julio, he's going to be a nice play. Let me see. I don't hate Hansen. Again, I want nothing to do with Chark. I'm just going to keep getting him out of my picture. Give me Higgins. Give me Higgins over all these guys. I like my Giants receivers. So let me bump those guys up. I think, Daniel Jones, tough week, but Cleveland is just god-awful in the secondary right now. Denzel Ward returning would change that, but I'm going to be higher on these Giants guys. Gabriel Davis, a fantastic punt. I'll go Higgins first, but Davis, he scored, 3 touchdowns in 3 straight weeks? Very viable. I think Scantling, too. He's playing more snaps than Lazard. You get Carolina. Go for the dart throw, right? Down here, Danny Amendola, I always bump up. I think Sanders, that depends a ton on Drew Brees, if Drew Brees is going to play or not. I don't like Judy more than any of these guys, though. But yeah, now we're in the pretty ugly territory. We can even bump up Golden Tate a bit, facing Cleveland. Don't want any Jets against the Rams. And I don't want anything to do with Brashad Perriman. And I've gone back-to-back weeks going on him in DraftKings, and he's been a complete douche. Assume Cooks is not playing. Anybody else down here? I'm going to bump up Tyrone Johnson, actually. I'm going to bump up KJ Hamler. Honestly, above Judy. Like, at least one of them catches deep balls. Tyrone, though, had 65 yards and a TD with Mike Williams out, who's not expected to play tomorrow or Thursday. Like me some Mooney. Ruggs I don't want in my lineup. I'd rather have Tyrone Johnson. Crazy. Bump up Hardman for the big shot. Like, if I'm going for a big shot, why Perriman? Let's go for the Mahomes big shot. James Washington's become, like, honestly more valuable than Claypool lately. Any other sneaky streamers down here? Not really. I mean, maybe Richie James with no Debo. He could play that Debo role. But yeah, you're getting pretty desperate if you're looking that far down. So that is the receivers. I'm going to move on to tight ends, pull up the tight end points against. We'll rip through the kickers and defenses, even though they're all kind of bullshit and you just kind of flip a coin. Let's us go now here. Flex, DJ Moore or Wayne Gallman, PPR. That's a tough one. I'll probably go Robert Sled with the consistency of Gallman. Mitchell, it's a great question. Why do you have Mahomes and Lamar and not a 2 QB league? That's wild. No word on Gibson. My guess is we've seen the last of him. I don't see the team risking their stud rookie up and coming like monster this late. What do you think of picking up Bowden and Wilson Jr.? I think both are viable pickups for sure. I think Wilson Jr. is the smash. Should Mostert's MRI come back, that shuts him down for any reason. Bowden this week, though, no one else to throw to. We just saw him get, 9 targets, 7 catches, led the team both in both categories, 82 yards led the team, snaps, moving him around, trick plays. Like, I like him a lot, and you can play him at flex, or at running back if you're desperate. So I like them both. I think they're both very viable pickups. I have Samuel Aguilar, Emmanuel Sanders, Marquise Brown on waiver wire. Marquise Brown's been kind of lighting it up. I wouldn't want to face him against the Jags, whether you play him or not. Samuel's you got a good waiver wire there, Juan. There's a lot of interesting plays. I don't think above any of the guys you listed, but I'd like to own them. Should I start Kamara or Akers? Diego, I hate to say this one comes down to Breeze's status, but if Breeze is in, it's Breeze with Kamara. He'd be a top 4 running back. If not, I think I'm going to go with Akers. Just the every down horse. Pick 2, Akers, Chubb, Carson. Chubb's the lock. And then I'm going to go Akers over Carson. It's really close. Depends, because Carson's so safe, Carlos. Like, you're getting a touchdown. You're going to get about 15 points. It's just Akers is a stud. And he's much more of the featured back. So I'm going to go Chubb, Akers, but I mean, they're neck and neck here. This is a tough one, Carlos. Any word who's starting a QB for the football team? Obviously, it's big for McLaurin and Evans. It's decision. If it's Haskins, I think it's McLaurin, and if it's not, it's probably Evans, right? I don't think there's been any official word no, though, Anthony. But you're tracking the right news. David Johnson probably coming back. Okay, I didn't see that, Jacob. That will obviously impact Duke Johnson, but I don't really want any of them anyways. Swift or Sanders? Miles Sanders for Mika Costa. Love what he just did with Jalen Hurts in the lineup. Almost all the snaps, over 50 compared to 11 for Scott. 32 points against the toughest run D in the league. Now he gets a much softer matchup. Give me Sanders all day. 2 QB for Brad Emserac. Should I pick up Hurts, Mullins, or Tua? Hurts all day. Hurts all day. Stafford's probably not going to play. I think Hurts is better than any of the guys you've talked about on this list. Better than Matt Ryan, Stafford, Tua, Mullins. He is your best play here. No doubt about it. Matt Ryan's only viable if Julio's in. And Stafford's probably not going to play. So I think you got to pick up Hurts and probably Tua and have a couple options here. Should I flex Akers, T.Y. Hilton, or Terry McLaurin standard league? Akers, especially standard. And I love Frazier Mack, T.Y. Hilton, but give me the guaranteed 20-something carries all day. PPR, RB, waiver wired, clean. Need one of Barber, White, Pollard, AP, or Ito Smith. It is indeed picked clean. Sports and Diggs. Probably Barber, and you just hope he falls his fat ass into the end zone. That's probably the play, right? I wasn't sure on the Carson or MT at flex because Carson faces Washington. It's a good D line, but he's going to get in the end zone. MT doesn't play Chargers. He plays Chiefs. Yeah, no, I know he plays Chiefs, and that's a good defense. They're giving up the second fewest to wide receivers this year, Carlos. But if Breeze is playing, it's close. It's not like it's a lock. If your gut's feeling MT, you got to go with your gut. I just feel like Carson's so safe. Sit one, A-Rob, Woods, Evans, Jefferson, McLaurin. I like A-Rob Woods the most. And then it comes down to Haskins. I'm probably going to roll Jefferson just because he's been such a stud. You got some great options, though. That's really tough. But A-Rob and Woods are the ones I'm locking in, and I'm probably going to go Jefferson. Steelers wide receivers have a case of the drop. Seriously, fella, what is going on with that? Absolute abysmal. How about shit-ass A.J. Green and bum-ass Al? Yeah, seriously. Alshon Jeffrey. Just revival of the corpses. Brutal. Irv, or the artist formerly known as Fant. Is Fant going to play? Kyle P. Fahey? I don't know. Irv is, if Kyle Rudolph is out, getting the Chicago defense that gives up the second most to tight ends, probably Irv. What's up, Rain? You have a question? Let's hear it. Shoot. Fire away, brother. Patrick Sullivan. Need 2 running backs in half-point PPR. David Montgomery, Cam Akers, D. Swift, Mike Davis, and Hines. This is tough. I have a hard time benching Davis against Green Bay, but I love Montgomery and Akers. It's not Swift. It's not Hines. It comes down to Montgomery, Akers, and Davis. I guess Davis has the biggest shot at crap in his pants. Ruggs on the COVID list just saw. Okay, even more for Aguilar then. Thanks for the update. Traded real low for Lamar security for playoffs. Oh, he's answering why you have both of them. Interesting. I'll answer you, Rain, and then we're going to get back to my tight ends. Miles Montgomery or Akers at flex. God damn, Rain. They're all great. Brutal. I think I'm going to go Sanders. It's risky. He's probably riskier than the other two. But what he just did against New Orleans, one of the best run Ds in the league, I don't see why it would be any different. Maybe because they have tape and they can prepare a little bit more, but I'm loving Sanders there. He's also the riskiest. I don't think you're going to go wrong. I don't think you're getting lower than 15 points from any of these guys. I just think Sanders is the one that could blow up for 30. All righty, guys, let's go to tight end. I will get to all the rest of the questions after tight ends. But as you can see, Jets getting destroyed. A lot of that was Darren Waller smacking them up upside the head. Browns also getting destroyed. Mark Andrews having a nice day against them. So let's look at the tight ends, and then we'll figure out who's playing who. Let's just get these ranked up. Nobody touches Kelsey. Biggest edge in fantasy. Want to take him in the first round of every draft I do next year. It just does not get better than Travis fucking Kelsey, folks. Darren Waller, tier by himself. I think Hawkinson, Andrews, 2 great matchups. Tiers by themselves. And now we sift through the rest. I like Big Bob, Tunyon, Gronk. I like the CCR. They've nailed it pretty well here. I think Ebron against Cincy's a little bit better than Henry, who just doesn't really do anything. Goddard looked okay with Hurts, probably the least impacted. I think Ingram against Cleveland, though, I think that's a good rebound spot. Let's cut this one off here. As we were just asked about, I love Irv should Rudolph sit. So I'm going to have Irv, honestly, number 11 tight end right now. Now, if Rudolph's playing, we'll readjust that, of course. But I love him. I think Logan, why is Jordan Reed get any of this type of fucking love? Just get the fuck out. Haydenhurst has become the bum of the fucking century. No interest in him. Give me like Cole Kmet if I'm going against, if I have one of these decisions, right? Don't love Akins against a stifling Indy defense to tight ends, but I do like Jonnu to catch a touchdown. So, like, if we're going, what's the value of Haydenhurst? It used to be that you see 5 targets and have, 4 catches for 50 yards. Now he's not doing that, and he's certainly not finding the end zone. So, I got to give Jared Cook, especially if we get a return from Drew Brees, but he's caught a touchdown in 2 to 3 straight weeks. It's just like Brees back, touchdown dependent. I'd say this is about it for tight ends. I mean, Higbee getting the Jets. Like, if there's ever a time to use Higbee, this could be like the 2 touchdown week. And I think Gerald Everett deserves to get ranked up here as well. And I mean, Dan Arnold's balling. He's got a touchdown in what, 3 straight weeks? I don't know if he scored last week, but he was all over the field. Doesn't look like Gesicki's going to play. We'll remove him. He'd be, right up here in your top 10. Ertz. There's nothing down here. I'll bump Knox up. That seems just about right for tight end. So let's now move on to defense. Get these sorted out for you. I swung and missed on my Carolina call last week. I'm sorry, Wolfpack, if you used them. I mean, it doesn't get any better than the Rams at the Jets. Fresh off a 22-point day, they're going to put up 20 points again. Does it not get better, though? We got the Steelers here against Cincinnati. Brandon Allen. Okay, and you got the Ravens against Jacksonville. There's some nice matchups this week, folks. Now it gets a little ugly. I like the Dolphins. Just a great defense. More than the Bills this week. I think the Colts, especially if they remain depleted, the Texans, could be a great play. Titans just aren't a good defense, but against Detroit, against Chase Daniels, they might not need to be. This seems about right. San Fran, I want to like, but I mean, they do get Dallas. So, okay. All right. Fair enough. Chicago, Minnesota, they've been playing well, but, I prefer Washington, even in that tough Seahawks matchup. Nobody I'm seeing that I love. I do like the Pats more than some of these others just because of how banged up the Dolphins are. That could be an interesting play. Giants have a good D, but that team is cooking right now, the Browns. I don't hate the Cowboys, though. If you're looking for a viable stream, they're fresh off like a huge day. That'll round it out. If you need a streamer, it's the Cowboys, the Pats. I don't think any of these other guys are going to be on your waiver wire. Cleveland against the Giants might be. Let's polish this on off here. Our kickers, and then it's your questions the rest of the way, Wolfpack. Rodrigo, a beast. But nobody, and I mean nobody, ever deserves a spot above Mr. Younghoe Koo. Ever. Do love Tyler Bass. We'll do your big 3 here. Bucker's, hasn't had the year he once did, but I actually love Matt Gay as a kicker streamer this week. I think Jason Sanders, Younghoe Koo light, Lutz, hasn't been great actually lately. I feel like is Carlson that good? Like, I feel like he's always ranked absurdly high. Gostkowski's going to have minimal pressure, which is what he needs right now at this stage of his career. So he can definitely boot some. And, that's 11 guys, so you shouldn't need too much more than that. But I don't love Prates if we don't got. I think Zerlin's a little bit underrated on this list, though. We just saw it. Like, yeah, the Cowboys kind of stink, but Dalton gets them in field goal range, and he can boot just 50 yarders. I love me some Greg Zerlin. So there you go. You got 12 kickers. We don't really need to mess around. Joey Slay. Why not Joey Slay? Get on up there. You got yourself a big leg. That seems about right. All righty, Wolfpack. That wraps up the rankings. The rest of the time will be dedicated to you, your questions, and whatever I can help you with. So Trey S., we left off with you. Full PPR bench, Deontay, Robert Woods, or Swift. I got to bench one of these guys. Probably benching Swift. I like the Tennessee matchup, but Chase Daniels at quarterback just is hideous. You think James Robinson will do well against Baltimore's D? And Josh Allen, yes, he'll slaughter them. And Robinson, I don't think I have any worries about. We just saw what Hunt and Chubb did to them. 4 combined touchdowns. No, this isn't the same offensive line or the same offense by any means. But Robinson's a beast. I'm not benching him. Not sure what the yup is for sports and digs, but I'm glad we agree. PPR, Aubrey 2, Wilson, Bowden, Washington. Wilson's the one I'd stash first just because if Mostert's out, he's by far the best play. I'd want to also stash Bowden. I'd have Bowden ahead of Washington very slightly. It's not a clear lock, but I go Wilson. I go the exact order you typed him in, Chad Likens. Galladay on waiver, worth the pickup? Fuck Galladay. Locker room cancer. Don't want him in there. No way. Any word on Gesicki? Didn't look great. But if he's out, it's Irv with no Rudolph. It's Logan Thomas if Rudolph plays. I have Hawk season, but if no Stafford, do I pick up and play Gronk, Irv, or Ebron? I would go Gronk above these guys. That Atlanta matchup, he could catch 2 touchdowns. Hawkins season without Stafford is a tricky one. I think I just put him in his own tier with Andrews, but you're right. Without Stafford, we have to factor that in. He's a big part of this offense. He's going to be part of the game plan. But above Andrews, nah. I think he's more so in this tier. That's a tricky one. That's a really tricky one. We'll have to see how that plays out. Is AB a decent flex play? I love the matchup with Atlanta. Yeah, and if it's a Jeff Wilson or John Brown, I prefer AB to both unless Mostert's ruled out. And then Jeff Wilson's the smash play. All righty, folks. That wraps up the questions. That will wrap up the Week 15 show. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you didn't already, give it a like. It would mean the world. If you haven't subscribed, Wolfpack, get subscribed so you can get all these videos, all your questions answered throughout the week. And of course, if you are willing, rotostreetjournal.com/support2020 to send us an testimonial would mean so much as we try to speak about the value we bring. Who can tell people better than you guys what makes us different, what makes us better? How have we helped you? Why should an investor invest in us? Things of that nature. Any words you're willing to spill for us, it would be so greatly appreciated. But thank you guys again so much for your time. Best of luck in those semifinals. I'll be live tomorrow with my man, The Truth, to preview that playoff matchup. We'll be live on Thursday Night Football tailgate, baby. Big matchup for a lot of you guys, fantasy-wise. We'll be live for that, answering some sit starts as we get a clearer picture of these injuries. Wolfpack, have a great rest of your Tuesday, and we'll see you hopefully tomorrow.